Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes podcast. I'm Bert Lepore. He's Samuel Monte Carlo. We're hanging here with Angry Mike D, and we talk about music, movies, and so much more.
All right, we're back with another episode of Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes, episode 51. This one we're going to talk about, we're going to go back into our younger years and we want to revisit some, retro video games, arcades, from different consoles that we grew up with, Atari, Nintendo, whatever, ColecoVision or, Sega Genesis, PlayStation, all that stuff, because it's, brings back, good memories, going to the arcade and, even getting that stuff, the first systems that came out, it's like a big deal back then,
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, before we start, I'd just like to thank everybody for listening every week, and make sure you hit like and subscribe on our channel, Dan Bird Entertainment. And, we appreciate it. Matter of fact, we just got these made not too long ago. We haven't really sold them yet. We haven't put them up for sale, but T-shirts, $15. Hit us up if you want.
Swag.
We got swag.
Yeah.
There you go. Instead of a good pair of boobs, we got Mike showing us his swag.
I got a good pair of boobs. I don't know what you're talking about.
Show us your shirt.
My boobs are superb.
So, we're going to give this kind of from the gamer's consumer point of view, not so much the history of, because there's a great movie or documentary called Video Games the Movie, which I found on YouTube, but I think it was out on other channels too. But I know, Dame, you've seen that too, right?
No, there was a different one on Netflix. It was like a 6 or 8 part miniseries, documentary series, which I forget the name of it. Maybe like the Games That Made Us or something like that. I don't know, but it was really interesting, very informative, basically the start of, how everything started, with arcades and the home system boom and everything, and the downfall and, resurgence and stuff.
Yeah. So, we're going to give like a loose timeline here, probably, like I said, we didn't, we're not the guys to do the whole documentary thing. That's for the guys who did the movie. So we're going to start in the 1930s. Pretty much, it's like pinball kind of was invented, which is pretty wild, man. I mean, going back to our parents, probably younger days, pinball was freaking huge, man. And it's still today. I mean, you still see pinball machines today.
Yeah, it's like it's like timeless.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
It's funny though, you're playing the game. I mean, how do you really win? You hear that pop, and I don't even get it.
You win,
score.
You get the extra game, yeah.
It's
you could pop it and get like extra credits and stuff in there.
Yeah,
it's all about the score, getting that high score. Because even like the old arcade games, I don't remember going to the arcade and wanting to beat the boss. It was all about
the score.
Like Pac-Man. It doesn't end. It's just like the score.
Yeah. Having your name on top of that list.
Yeah, right. Because there's only 3 characters, so usually I would always put Ace, ACE.
Yeah, when you used to play the game and you had like a bunch of people standing in the back watching, and that's how you knew you won.
Right.
Yeah. And everybody had their own technique. Who's bumping the pinball machine, hitting the flip?
Yeah.
You're watching some of these people, man. They had the technique down.
We used to go to the video store, the local neighborhood video store, and they had a couple. They always had a couple. They definitely had a pinball. I don't know if they had like one arcade and a pinball or 2 pinball machines. Might have been both. But man, we always used to go there every Friday, Saturday night, play pinball. Pinbot was one of my favorite games. I don't remember that one.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Pinbot. I used to like a pinball game called Wildfire. I don't know why, but and of course the Kiss pinball machine.
I remember that.
Guns N' Roses one.
I never seen the Guns N' Roses.
Oh, that was fun. It's pretty high tech for like.
I mean, they made pinball machines just about for everything. For a certain point.
Yeah, and they're still awesome. Still to today, they're really awesome. So, guys, the first video game, 1940. I guess a bunch of guys in MIT, I think it was, and they invented this computer game for Nim, which is like some ancient kind of Chinese game or something like that. So I'm looking here and it's like I never played it. It says the computer won most of the time when you played it. Depending on the version played, the goal of the game was to avoid taking the last object or the last object variants of Nim been played since ancient times. Okay, so I want to put up a graphic here because I don't get it. I guess you can't get stuck with a number. I really don't know what it is. I looked it up. I still didn't know. But I'll put up a graphic for everybody to see. So Nim or Nimrod, or that was like the first kind of deal. In 67, they brought video games to TV, which I didn't even know was that far back, with the brown box. And
we saw Pong was the first one.
Well, Pong was part of the brown box. It was Pong, checkers, and a couple different sports games that they had. And then, of course, Pong came out. I think Atari put out Pong for like their own little thing. I kind of remember my dad having one.
I still had my
paddle. Remember?
System. Yes.
It had the two paddles on the side.
Yeah.
Mike, you still got one?
I still have it. My grandfather bought it like years ago, and we still have it in the closet. I guess it still works. I don't know.
That's crazy, man. And I read that you used to never be able to move the little, your little guy or whatever it was to the top, so the score wouldn't go on forever. So there'd be some kind of winner. But in 77, Atari pretty much blew up everything, man. And let's talk about some Atari. What's some of your Atari favorite games, there, Damo?
Well, I remember it came with a game, Combat. Do you
and
remember
Circus
that?
And Circus. It came with two sometimes.
Did it come? I don't remember.
Yeah.
You know what? I do remember Circus vaguely, but I remember playing the hell out of Combat, and it was like
it was
a bunch of different games within one. Remember?
Yeah.
It was
like
the
Combat was
and
good. I like that game.
That was good. Yeah.
For the time.
Yeah. For then, I mean,
you know what? And the thing is with the Atari, man, they had so many different modes on those games. Some of those games, 50 different modes on them. It was like, you could play like a different game. Like it wasn't like the same all the time. Like difficulty levels it had.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the newer systems kind of they're a little more basic. You can't do all the stuff like that.
Well, I think Combat. I remember it having like, I don't know if it did have this many, but I remember there was like 15 or 20 different games.
There was a bunch. A bunch.
Right. And then you could set the difficulty on top of that, which changed it. So it was like, remember the difficulty button?
Yeah.
And you had the joystick, and the joystick was kind of, if you look at it, remember the rubber used to come off. You used to just see the plastic underneath.
How many of those did you guys break?
Oh my God, all the time.
Yeah.
I was good with mine. I think I only broke one the whole time.
Yeah, I broke a couple of them.
The paddles, man, I destroyed them things.
Dude, it's funny because when a game came out for the paddles, it was like a big deal because there wasn't so many of them.
Right. It was.
You had Kaboom.
Kaboom.
That was a favorite.
Kaboom.
Oh my God.
Dude, I love Circus. I thought Circus was a great fucking game. Remember the balloons?
I vaguely remember.
Was it Circus or Circus Fun?
I think it was just called Circus, but we have to
Was
look
it just
that
Circus?
Up. Yeah, I'll put a graphic up. I'll find a graphic of it.
You know what was a good one? Remember Spider-Man?
Spider-Man was decent. It was weird.
That was pretty good. I remember the Green Goblin was in it, flying around. Back
you just have to go up the building with the web, and then you would get to the top. But I never really half these Atari games. I never really finished them or passed them.
Superman was good. I used to like that back in the day.
I remember that.
You had to arrest the criminals.
Yeah. What was great about those games, and like looking back now, it's like what really sold it was probably the artwork.
Definitely the art.
Remember that, like they had like
it was
they
big.
must have had like the one artist that did all the artwork, because all the games looked pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow,
yeah, this looks awesome.
Great.
And
you
then
turn on the back,
and
it's like a box, a circle, and a square. It's like, what?
Right,
dude. The football game, it was like white. It was like three guys, white and orange, and you had in your head, you're like, okay, I'm the Cowboys, you're the Eagles, or whatever, you know. And then when you threw the ball, you could actually move the ball.
That's the thing, though, because
really
you could play Atari and you're playing the game, but you're also imagining something else while you're playing. So it kind of worked multifaceted in a way.
Yeah, you're being very creative.
Yeah, today it's just you plug in, you watch it, like, wow, these graphics are great. But back then you had to make up the graphics in your head what was going on.
Yeah, and then as the games got better, we started getting the Miss Pac-Man, the Jungle Hunts, the Pitfall.
Yeah,
Pitfall was big. Man.
I love Pitfall 2. Oh, that was a great game.
I don't remember Pitfall 2. I remember definitely. I was a big fan of Pitfall.
The first Pitfall.
Oh, yeah.
Pitfall 2 was like it was an adventure game, but like you couldn't save or anything like that, and it was so long and it was so
Right.
hard.
Couldn't save any of those games.
No.
No.
No, you
Yar's
didn't have
Revenge.
Yar's
that was
Revenge.
another great one.
Yeah. Asteroids.
I used to
Asteroids
love-
Joust.
Joust.
You remember Maze
Well,
Craze?
Joust for Nintendo, I remember.
I remember. Yeah, Joust came out on Nintendo
Yeah.
too. Maze Craze.
Yeah. Boxing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Boxing game?
Yeah. I
All
thought were
you saw was like
big
two
heads.
arms and
Yeah.
a
It was
head.
like a boom, 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 boom. That was it.
Yeah.
It was like an overhead shot. All
Yeah.
you saw was like a round thing, like as a head and like two arms going like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That was actually pretty hard.
Oh,
I'll tell you
all
what,
games were.
that was Activision, and Activision probably at the early stages put out some of the better games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah. They put out a lot of the good games.
Yeah.
And then some games that I just wasn't good at, like Missile Command. Where the line came down, you had to hit. But you're a kid, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you know.
Yeah.
I have a patch at home from Pitfall, and when you scored over a certain amount, they told you take a picture of the screen and they'll mail you a patch, and they did.
Oh my god.
That's funny.
But you had to take a Polaroid or whatever, you get it developed, and then you mail it to them, and they mail it back to you. So it was like 6 weeks later.
It's crazy. How
But
about
they
then
lived up to
probably the worst game ever in the history of games, E.T.
awful?
Wait, was it really that bad?
Dude,
Yeah.
Was it really?
It was awful.
Was it really the worst game?
Yeah.
It pretty
I don't
much
think it
killed
was.
it killed
It
Atari.
did. It did because of like the time when it came out. I mean, the games were getting a little bit better at that point.
Well,
But
they're
when you
tr-
look, I don't know. I could probably think that there was probably some worse games.
you gotta try to revisit that one if you can. It's bad.
It's pretty bad.
Even back then, I remember being so frustrated. Like, what do you do, man? Like, there's documentaries just on that game. Like,
Yeah.
because they rushed it. They wanted to get it done in time for when the movie came out, and I think they did it in like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, which was probably
it wasn't
like
long.
unheard of. And then they printed out like millions of them, and they're sitting in like some landfill in Arizona now. all the games years ago back in the 80s that didn't sell, they just put them in a landfill.
Yeah.
There was another game I was addicted to, and I never beat it. And I never, because it didn't even give you really like how to play it. It was remember Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I never knew what to do in the game, but I kept on playing it, trying to figure it out, and never did.
Yeah. Some of those games, actually, most of them, the Atari games, I don't remember them ever ending because it was all about the score.
Yeah.
It was all about the
Mhm.
high score.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Adventure ended.
Yeah.
Adventure, which I
Yeah.
never finished.
That was like the first role playing game.
I never
And that
finished
was the first game that's billed as having an actual like Easter egg inside the game.
What was it, the chalice? Was that the Easter egg or?
No, it was a dot. You find a magical dot that's invisible. And if I remember right, you get it in the Black Castle, and I think you have to do a medium or hard difficulty. And then when you go through the top and there's the catacombs in there, it's somewhere hidden in there. And we used to find it as a kid. I could probably never find it now, but then you bring it to a certain spot with like 2 other items, and it opens up this secret wall. You go in there, and it's the creator of the game's name.
You know what game I wish they would put out? Like, and even if they made it the same way, but just did it with today's graphics, Berserker or Berserk.
that was good.
Cool. I love Berserk.
Yeah.
How great was that game?
That was good.
Basic. You can't hit the walls. And then what's the thing, Mike? You know the name of that ball that comes
Evil
out.
Otto.
Evil.
Evil Otto, man. He
How
was
great was
feared,
that
man.
game?
Evil Otto came out, you just ran. You can't kill him. You couldn't do nothing to him.
You
Yeah.
couldn't hit the wall. You had to.
No,
I think
and it was like a
brilliant.
crude maze that was easy to get through, but you had the robots shooting at you. And
Yeah.
if it took too long, then you had Evil Otto coming out. So
I thought that was a great game. I mean, I wish
Frogger.
they would redo it. Frogger.
I love
Yeah.
Frogger.
Yeah, Frogger
Yeah.
was good. Donkey Kong. I think
Donkey
they put out,
Kong,
I
yeah.
love Donkey Kong.
Someone like Donkey Kong, Frogger, Pac-Man, like they were so great on the arcade, but when they
Yeah.
put them
They
on
didn't work over
Atari, it
there.
was like, yeah,
Wasn't the same. Speaking of
Yeah.
that, let's go back to the arcades for a little bit. You know, they became really popular in the 70s and early 80s. And I mean, I had half of my family had arcades or friends.
Oh, really?
Oh my God. I would have one today. If it would work today, I would have one today. And who
Yeah.
knows, you know, I mean, maybe it could, you know, but once you put,
I
once
think they still
console
have
games came
machines
in,
out there.
They do.
there's actually a bit of a resurgence right now. It's
Oh, nice.
there used to be an arcade in Deptford Mall like for years, and I think they finally closed it like maybe a little over 10 years ago. And like I remember going through the mall and there was like nobody in that arcade, but just like a couple years ago, they opened up another one because there's this whole big resurgence with arcades now. If you go, now they have the mini arcades you could buy at like Target or Walmart for like $200 or something. So which are cool, but they're kind of like
small. It's kind of small.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is that the arcades were cool because you had a place to hang out. If you wanted to go hang out, you could just go to the arcade and hang out with your buddies or whatever the deal was. It's the home consoles are fantastic, but it's that whole being around other people and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you want to kind of you want to show up these strangers or whatever. That's what I used to love going down the shore for that reason.
Oh yeah,
you could wear the tight jeans with the big Nike sneakers,
the mullet,
get yourself abroad, have a good time.
Have your Walkman,
dude,
around your neck,
man. You don't. People don't realize how much the young kids. They don't realize how much fun that was. It was so. Yeah,
we used to even like in when we were in our teens, we always drive over the bridge from Philly to Jersey to Deptford Mall because that was like the closest arcade, and we just hang out at the arcade and play all kinds of games. And this is like in the 90s.
Yeah,
like well into the early mid 90s we were doing this, and the games were the graphics were way better, but we would play like some of the sports games and like the race car games. Actually one of my favorite ones was Ivan Stewart's Off-Road.
Yeah.
I used to love
I don't know if I remember that.
You'd know it if you see it.
Yeah, Super Sprint. The car games I really liked.
Dude,
going back pole position, like
pole position. Yeah, you sat in the thing. Do you remember track and field where you had to with the buttons?
Yeah,
Used to hurt your fingers.
Oh my god, yeah.
That 10-yard fight. I used to love 10-yard fight.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah,
it was great. The object of it was great because you had so much time. If you got a first down, then you got more time. There was no defense. It was all offense. But like, how come like a game like Madden don't put that as like a side game or something like that?
I don't know. We never play the side games really, so they do have stuff in there.
Not like that though. 10-yard fight would be awesome.
Like a retro thing.
Yeah,
throwback.
It would be cool. Then arcade Miss Pac-Man was huge. Donkey Kong was my favorite in the arcade. You had Joust.
Joust was cool. Yeah,
the original Punch Out, man. That was a great
original Punch Out was good.
Yeah.
Gauntlet was great because you had a bunch of people could play with you.
Yeah.
And then it got bigger, got into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Street Fighters where you had all these crazy buttons and Mortal Kombat.
I was
and all
big
that
on
stuff.
The Street Fighter. I was big. Mortal Kombat.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Yeah, it was too hard or something.
Yeah.
But what game I never understood? I don't know. I think Mike might remember it. I don't know if Dame will remember this. That game Tempest. I never understood it.
No, me either.
It had like these different kind
of. It was a roller ball.
Yeah, and you had to roll the ball. You had it's like a spinning
I
thing.
really didn't like that.
I never understood it. I never understood it. And then, and to me, the downfall was once they started coming out with the quarter suckers, like, you had your Dragon Slayer was like your first 50-cent piece you had to put in there. And
the cartoon.
The cartoon. It was neat, but it was like 50 cents. And then you had like the sport games where like you're paying for an inning now. So it's like,
oh yeah.
There was a baseball game like that. You had to put a quarter in for every inning. It's like, come on, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, they suck.
You had to pull back that like it was like a bat, like an actual bat. It was like a metal trigger,
like a stick
almost.
or something. You had to
let's speaking of arcades. Let's can I jump into Dave and Buster's real quick?
Sure. Because
they're built as like this adult arcade and stuff like that. You go there, Dave and Buster's sucks.
It does.
Absolutely suck. They suck the money out of your pockets to put on these stupid fucking cards. The video game, they got a little retro video game section, and it's broke half the time. Everything else is stuffed animal machines.
Yeah.
Fuck Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, dude, it's like, when you're down the shore when you're younger, you're playing the skee ball, and you're like, oh, you're getting all these tickets. You go to bring it up, it's like, you get this little trinket. You're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, you spend $15 and you get a couple pieces of candy.
Dude,
we used to go to Dave and Buster's, and we had a buddy of ours. He was saving up for this jukebox, and there was like a CD jukebox, and it was a ridiculous amount of tickets. He gets the amount of tickets for it, and he goes up to get it, and they're like, oh, we're out of it.
That's great. So I mean, can arcades make a comeback? If they did, I'd open up one. I definitely would open up one.
Yeah, I think the retro ones you're gonna. Well, you got how about like the bars, like Barcade and stuff. That's pretty big right now.
Yeah, mixtapes and tasty cakes arcade.
Yeah,
it could happen. Hey, did either one of you guys have either ColecoVision or Intellivision?
No. And then at the
I
same
had-
time, there was also the Atari 5200 and 7800.
Yeah, which I don't
Yeah.
think
So
I
they all
got. I didn't
came
get
out.
those.
Yeah. Yeah, I never got
They
any
kind of
those.
flopped, if I remember.
Yeah,
they
my
did.
cousin had
Yeah.
my cousin had the Intellivision, which was kind of different because you had that number kind of pad, but then you put on this like little plastic sheet, and it would, I guess you would hit certain things on the sheet.
Mhm.
The sheet would be like configuration with the number. And then my uncle had ColecoVision, which the big game, of course, was Donkey Kong, in there.
I had the
Right.
ColecoVision.
You had the
ColecoVision was
ColecoVision?
great. Yeah,
The graphics were a lot better, right?
a lot better.
Yeah, ColecoVision was pretty cool. Now, Mike,
And that had the pad too. And
that had a pad too,
with
yeah.
the little buttons and everything.
Yeah. And you
And-
had what was that? I'm gonna call it strange because I never seen it. You had some wacky video game, didn't you? System.
It's called the Vectrex. I still have it. I sold a few of the games of it, but this system was like way ahead of its time, and it came out like 1982, and it was its own unit. It was a TV, and it had the controller that folded out from underneath of it, and you could plug a second one in also, so you could have your buddy play with you. The game had these like little cartridge-based games, and the graphics are kind of crude, but the games were fun. It was like all line kind of graphics, like sprites,
Right.
and also they had a light pen and a couple games like there was a game you could make music with, and there was another game where there was two other games where you could have like make artwork and stuff and like animation with it. So it was very crude, and it really didn't give you like that many options or that many frames, but it was really cool. Like as a kid, there was nothing else like that.
What was it called again?
So Vectrex.
That's right. I remember hearing about that.
And they also had, which was hard to find, they had a 3D helmet out, which was super ahead of its time.
Yeah.
But that was like almost impossible to find. So my grandfather actually found it towards like the end of its run, and the machine might have been $50 at the time, and the games were going for like maybe $4 or $5. So he just scooped it up and grabbed a bunch of games.
Oh, you know what I see it here, Vectrex. Yeah, it looks like kind of like a TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of wacky looking. Yeah.
And each game, you kind of put the screen overlay on the top of it. And they didn't have too many like games like from like other systems. They did have Berserk for that, which was a great version of it. Yeah, I liked it better than the Atari one.
Is
or
it in
the
color?
arcade.
Was it in color or black and white?
No, it was black and white, but
Yeah.
you put the overlay on the top of it. It gives it a little bit of color, but not much.
That's what I'm saying.
And they had they had Armor Attack. That was like a kind of well-known game.
Yeah,
and then they had
it's kind of weird looking.
Yeah, knockoffs. Like there was one like Clean Sweep. It was almost like a Pac-Man ripoff. But it was a really cool system. Like all the kids up my street loved it. We would all come over to my house and play it all the time.
Do you guys remember Odyssey?
Yes,
One of my
I do,
friends
but I
had
never
Odyssey.
knew anybody that had.
I had one friend that had the Odyssey system. That
What
was like
that?
near
Was that before
Atari,
the
right?
Atari? Was that
It
before
probably was
maybe?
before. I think it was right before the Atari.
Yeah.
If I remember, Odyssey and television might have been connected somehow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Be wrong. I'm not sure.
Well, let's move on to where it all kind of really got big. Nintendo. How about you, Dame? You remember anything about Nintendo?
Yeah, I got it. I actually got it a little bit later, probably like around 87. A lot of my friends were getting it like around, 85, 86, but I got it when it came out. I bought it. It was like, because when you would do the original one came with like the gun, the controllers, and that weird friggin' thing. What the hell was
The
that?
robot.
The robot.
Gyromite.
for,
I don't
like,
remember the robot.
Gyromite. Yeah.
I think
That
that was
was
the
the-
only game. There might have been one or two games. For
You're
that.
right. Yeah, there was only a couple games for that. And but the one that I got was the system. It was like the mega thing because it came with the gun, the controllers, and the power pad. Remember the power pad?
Shit, yeah.
No,
I
I
remember
remember,
the
the
power pad.
glove.
Oh,
was-
dude,
it
the
unfolded, right?
Yeah. So the game it was three games on one cartridge. It was Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and it wasn't track and field.
It might have been the
something
Gyromite.
like- No. It was like an Olympic game, not track and field, but it was something like that. And anyway, the power pad is like those Dance USA games they have now, where you're
Yeah.
you're stepping and shit. Well, that's what the power pad was. It was like
I remember that.
things you step
Now I
on.
remember it. Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So like this Olympic game, it was like a lot of running and stuff. So you're actually like working out, you know, but that was like a pretty big deal. And Duck Hunt, I love Duck Hunt.
Yeah, Duck Hunt was good. Duck Hunt was good at Mario Brothers, right?
Yeah.
That was on there.
The original one was all right.
The original one was fun. I thought the original one was fun. We had a knockoff for everything. Super Mario, yeah. And then you had, you know, Baseball Stars. I love baseball.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, because it kept the stats.
And you could edit the players, so you make all your friends and stuff.
Yeah. It's the first one like that. Yeah.
Let's not forget. Then you had Metroid, Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Which like
Tyson's Punch Out.
Oh my God.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out, the greatest.
Yeah.
Love that game. As simple as it is, I love it.
Yeah, I still can't beat Bold Bull. or Tyson.
I can't beat Tyson.
Oh,
I get the Tyson. I can't beat Tyson.
Tyson took a lot of time to beat.
You had the Contra. We had to do the code. Remember the code?
Yeah. Up, down, left, right, BA start.
That's great. That was like a huge game. The Contra game was huge. I remember everybody loving Contra.
30 lives, man. I could tear that game up.
And then they put it out again, and then it wasn't that good. Like,
yeah.
It was like, yeah, it's weird. Castlevania.
That was a hard ass game.
That was hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I dug a lot? Excite Bike. Remember Excite Bike?
Yeah.
You made your own ramps and stuff.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
They had a few games where you can make your own things. And,
for as dumbed down as it was fucking awesome back in the day.
Tecmo Bowl.
Oh, great. One of my favorites.
Ice hockey.
Blades of Steel in there?
Yeah.
The hockey was like the three guys. It was like 3-on-3, I think, right?
It was 4-on-4, but it was three. The guys were three different sizes. The skinny guy, the medium guy, and the real big fat guy.
Yep.
I remember that.
The big fat guy would like barrel into everybody.
How about that pro wrestling? Remember it with Starman?
Yeah.
The Amazon?
I love that. I never beat that game.
King Slender or something?
King Slender. Giant Panther.
The Great Puma was like the guy you had to beat.
Yeah, the Great Puma.
Impossible. I never beat him.
He bites your head.
The Amazon. That was the Amazon. The green guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fighter Hayabusa. Who else was in that? There wasn't many of them, but the Starman I used to always use to do the chop off the rope.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. King Slender was like Ric Flair, I think.
Yeah.
I kind of liked either Starman or Fighter Hayabusa because you could do the Enziguri kick.
Yeah.
Kind of out of nowhere, you know.
That was a lot of fun. Then there was also like a tag team wrestling game or something, but it was weird. You would lock up
the two guys that look like Brutus.
I remember that game. I had that. Yeah.
You lock up and then you'd have to pick what move as you scroll down. It was weird.
That's right. Yeah.
It was weird. Dude, Popeye was on. Popeye was great.
I love Popeye.
Yeah, that's another good arcade game. Popeye
the arcade game was good. Yeah.
It was so good, man.
Kung Fu Master.
Kung Fu was great. That's another.
I think I did that.
Which one was that?
Arcade was good.
I think I was with the fans. Remember they had the fans and stuff.
Yeah.
Double Dragon.
Yeah, that's another great one. I mean, they had a shitload of good games, man.
Yeah,
a shitload. Like as we're talking about Nintendo, how about like Super NES?
I didn't get that.
No, me either. I went to Sega afterwards.
That's what I did. The big game for me on that was Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball was great. That was really, really good.
You know, I barely played it. I mean, a buddy of mine, he bought that Super Nintendo, and I bought Sega Genesis because I thought the Genesis was
it was a little more of an upgrade,
like
right?
The new thing, you know.
Yeah,
they came out around the same time. I think Genesis might have been even like a little bit earlier.
I love the Genesis, man. That was a great system.
Yeah. Like I remember Altered Beast is the one I remember more than anything for that system. Altered Beast was the game. Yeah, kind of cool. It was like a side scroller, right? It was kind of cool.
Because like for me, like the Genesis, like man, like that was like the first system that like they really did a good job on role playing games. And
they were the first ones to put out the CD. Remember they had Sega CD, which I don't think
had
did that well.
Yeah, was that game Death Trap or something with Dana Plato?
I don't remember that. Joe Mal would know it.
I think they banned that game. Yes, there was a game.
They did.
And I had this CD player. When I got it, you couldn't get the game at that point. But I remember you had to spy on like the frat girls or the sorority girls.
Yeah.
Can't do that today.
That was it was like the first system with a disc. But
Sewer Shark was cool. I think Sewer Shark came with it. That was a fun game.
Yeah, it came out like right. I actually remember being like a little ticked off that they came out with that because Genesis was only around for like a couple years. I was like, fuck, man, now I got to buy another one. And thank God it didn't.
And didn't they come out with like Atari came out with like a Jaguar, which I don't think that did good.
Right.
That
Yeah.
kind of came and went.
My other friend had Turbo Graphics.
I don't think I ever had that.
Oh, dude. Funny story is we used to go play Turbo Graphics in at my buddy's house, and he had it set up in his dad's bedroom. So his dad used to go out with this. His dad split up with his wife, my friend's mom, and he was dating this really young girl who was probably 20 or 21. And the big rumor was that she was like a stripper, and we were like, dude, we're like 12, 13, and we're like crazy over her, and thinking like my buddy's dad is like God. So one day we're playing TurboGrafx 16, me and him in the bedroom on the bed, and then she comes out of the shower, and we're like, she's getting dressed like right behind us. We're like looking, trying to like check her out through the glare of the TV.
And I guess you had 2 joysticks in your hand.
Yeah, right.
Oh, sorry, pal.
Oh man.
As we're talking about the Sega systems, I remember when they put out the Sega Saturn and then the Dreamcast. I had the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast was pretty damn cool.
I never had that.
Yeah, I didn't have
It was cool.
any of them, but they both kind of flopped, didn't they?
Yeah, it didn't do well. The football for the Dreamcast was great. And yeah, they both really didn't do.
What
do
was
too well.
first, Saturn or Dreamcast?
I think Saturn.
Yeah.
Saturn was first.
So that I guess was like the PlayStation.
Yeah, next
And the other
next
one
would be
was
the
like-
PlayStation.
Yeah.
And then, but you also had somewhere in between. I don't know if you remember. You remember the Neo Geo?
Yeah.
It
Neo
was just
Geo
too expensive.
It was like
That
$600.
was.
I remember. It
Yeah.
was a ton of money. That was like
Yeah.
I mean, they're all pretty much made in Japan, but that was like a direct import almost.
It
You would
looked
go
like
to-
it looked like the arcade.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Yeah.
an arcade because you used to go to the arcade and they used to have the Neo Geo system
Yeah.
in there.
Mhm.
A bunch of
And
games.
they would, you could play like maybe like 10 different games in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
there was one game on there that I used to play all the time. I can't remember which
Was
one
it the fighting game? Maybe.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because me and my buddy used to like that game. I'm like, we should get the system. We looked at the price. We're like, oh my God, it's like $700.
Yeah, I remember it being
was
a ton of
expensive.
money.
Yeah.
I mean, even now it's a lot of money.
yeah, it was expensive, man. Yeah. So moving on. I mean, that's the PlayStation comes out, and that's it. It's like history right there. So the PlayStation comes out in '94, and I wouldn't say it's the first CD based game, but I mean, I think Sega Saturn might have been first. I'm not sure, but if not, it was definitely one
Made
of the
it
first.
popular.
Yeah, it definitely made it popular. And man, you could do so much with the first PlayStation. And even with the memory cards and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, you did stuff on the PlayStation that you can't do today, like with the 2 memory cards and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
it's crazy that they take away technology gets better, but they always take away something. And it's like the simple stuff they take away, What are your memories on the PlayStation, Dane?
I remember me and Frankie Meatball used to go over our buddy's house because he had the PlayStation. It was a big deal. I remember going over there. We used to get a 40. We used to get some Tostitos. And we used to play arcades. And this dude, he had his own apartment. It was like our first buddy who had his own apartment.
Right.
So we would go there, all the lights out, and we used to play like Demolition Derby and Die Hard and Twisted Metal all night long.
Twisted Metal was
Yeah.
great.
Twisted Metal was awesome.
Oh,
we
man,
used to
it
have
was
battles
fun.
with that game. We used to get like heat reads out of that game.
Yeah,
What was the villain? Sweet Tooth? Was that one of
Sweet
the
Tooth.
Sweet Tooth? Yeah, that's what I would pick.
That was a fun game.
Yeah, a great game, man. But so many good games on the first PlayStation. And
Resident Evil was like a.
yeah, how ahead of time that was,
Mhm.
And then which one I didn't really like, but it was big, was Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I never got into that either.
Too
I
hard
mean, it
for
was
me.
it was tough looking at the spots. You had to jump. It just became like for me, it was like a not fun game.
Gaming, retro game, and I think I like to bring back the arcades. Would love it.
Yeah, I'm down.
I just don't think it would work these days, though.
Don't listen to Mike. It's going to work.
I don't know.
All right, guys. Mixtapes and tasty cakes. See you next week.